Hello and welcome to Formula 1 2020, where today we will be driving in the 1992 Williams round two different tracks today, the first being Monza.
Welcome to Monza, where the crowd are ready for today's action, and we hope you're ready to see the world's best drivers fighting it out for that number one spot. It's time for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds up to 215 miles per hour and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane.
Here we go for the Monza GP in the 1992 Williams. The 5 red lights are out and it's a good getaway for me, but it's also a good getaway for first and second in that McLaren. Here comes the 1992 Williams that we are driving down our inside as we go into turn 1. Trying to go right round the outside of both of them as there is yellow flags. We make contact just a wee bit with the 1992 Williams as we go through the long right-hander right now. No damage to the car as we're checking up into 6th gear, and that's the highest gear we're going to get into all race. As we go into the second chicane now, trying to close that gap to second place as there's a bit of a slide on our rear end as we exit that turn. Now through the next right-hander, very tricky here as you want to carry as much speed as you can. Now we're defending P4, trying to get back up into P3. Now we go down the big long back straight, one of two, separated by Ascari as we are about to come up to it, staying in 4th with a 3/10 gap to 5th, 6/10 gap to 3rd. Now down the second back straight before Parabolica, trying to just close into 3rd place, just trying to close that gap as much as we can as we go into Parabolica now. Round the long right-hander as we start to exit it and go on to the main straight. It is a 2/10 gap now to 3rd place. Can we maybe get the overtake into turn 1? We're going to see as we get the slipstream on the 1992 Williams. We're going to try right round the outside into turn 1 as we brake way too late, almost career right into the back of the McLaren, and we do not get 3rd place, but we do keep 4th, which is good. Now going down the straight, we touched the grass, but we've still got a second gap to 5th. Now it's a 1.6 gap as I'm saying it to 3rd place. Going through the second chicane now, just trying to close the gap as much as we can. Skipping ahead a bit into the lap now as we are right behind 3rd place. Trying to close the gap down this long back straight as we go into Parabolica. We're going to look up the inside and make the dive bomb down the inside and quickly dispatching of 3rd place. And now we are going to chase after 2nd down the main straight. Now we go the fastest lap is a 1:29. We set a 1:29.3 just off of the fastest lap. Now as we go down into turn 1, we could make the dive bomb on 2nd place. We do go for it, but we're going to make contact and he's going to push us onto the curb, and I thought I had the move done and I thought I had enough space on the inside, but I didn't. Now going down this wee straight here and now into the long right hander with 3rd place, our teammate essentially right behind us as we go about to go into the heavy braking zone of the next chicane through the left hander and now through the right hander. There's a wee bit of a slide on the rear end, but we keep 3rd place from our teammate in 4th, trying to close the gap to 2nd in that McLaren as much as we can. Now down the first of 2 back straights, trying to get the slipstream down here, because once you get slipstream down here you've got a really good run into Ascari and then Parabolica. Just trying to get a good entry into Ascari as we go now, mistaking the corners as we exit Ascari. Now down the long straight now, trying to get a good slipstream down this back straight and try and get a good entry into Parabolica. Now going through Parabolica now, we are right behind 2nd place not quite enough to go right round the outside of him, but as we go down the main straight now, we go a wee bit wide there. There's no underflow damage to our car. Now we get a good slipstream off a second, and we will make the overtake going into turn 1 here. Can we try and see it through? We're going to go right round the outside, go a wee bit too deep, not get enough space on turn 2, and we were too tight, and we're still in 3rd place. But our teammate in 4th is coming at us now as we go for this long right-hander, just trying to keep that gap very big so we do not get attacked by our teammate as we go into the second chicane. He's not close enough to make an overtake, and we are not close enough to make an overtake on second. Now going down this wee mini straight here into the right-hander, it sets you up for the next right-hander, which is essentially a horseshoe here. As we go for the next right-hander, trying to get a good exit so we can go down the straight on our run down into a scary. But here comes our teammate behind us, trying to look where he can make the overtake. He's going to go down the inside or try and get alongside us to go down the inside, but he's not got enough space. We're going to go through our scary now, and we still are in 3rd place behind 2nd. Now trying to get a good run down into Parabolica as we go down the straight, trying to get a good slipstream off a second, but I'm also trying to defend my teammate from getting the position off me. So we go for Parabolica now, and this is the final lap. I've just realised it as we go down the main straight now, and that will be 3rd place for the first race of 2 in this episode.
Yes, that's a podium. Excellent drive. The team have worked especially hard this weekend, and this is a fantastic reward.
Well, what a thrilling end to an
So we do get 3rd in the first race of 2, but we will get a second chance to try and get that win. But the next race will be Silverstone.
A warm welcome to you all joining us here at Silverstone today as the grid begins to form up for what we hope will be another phenomenal race. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the British Grand Prix. With good opportunities to overtake at the end of the Wellington and Hangar Straights, there's a lot of potential for close action around the 3.6 miles of the Silverstone circuit. With 18 corners and average lap speeds of around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the longest and quickest circuits on the calendar.
Well, here we are lining up first, I think it is, for the Silverstone GP as we are lining up on pole, ready for the 5 red lights. The 5 red lights start to go on. All 5 of them are on. And it's lights out and away we go. It's an okay start for us, but our teammate is trying to fight us. He's going to go up the inside of us as we go into turn 1. Now getting ahead of our teammate into turn 1 as we're about to go through Village. As we're going through Village now, we go a wee bit wide but cut back in as we go through the loop. Now about to go on to the Wellington Straight. Now on to the Wellington Straight we are now, going down on the run down into Brooklands. We are ahead of our teammate who does get overtaken, I'm pretty sure, as I saw back there, as we go through Brooklands now and through to Ludfield now, as we are trying to get a good run down onto the straight going down into Cops. There's a big snap as I have to correct it there. So we're going down the straight now into Cops to prepare. Now going down onto the straight, trying to get a good entry into Cops. We do get a good entry and a good exit, but that McLaren is going to fight us on the exit, looking for a way through onto Maggots and Beckett's. Through Maggots and Beckett's we go now, as we're now going to go through Chapel as we go down to the main, to the Hangar Straight, sorry, not the main straight. As we go down to the Hangar Straight, on outside there goes the McLaren as we are going to try and put up a battle into Stone here. We don't get through, and as we go down into the final part of the lap, going on to the main straight there. Now as we go through the final couple of turns, just trying to get away past that McLaren as we go for the last turn and onto the main straight, or otherwise called the Hamilton Straight. As we go down on the run down into turn 1 now, through turn 1, nice and tight on the apex. We go through to Village. Now down through Village, trying to get a good entry and a good exit Now through the loop here, trying to get a good entry and again a good exit to catch up to that McLaren. Now down the Wellington straight we go now. Skipping ahead a lap now as we do fall 3 seconds behind the McLaren in first. But here comes his teammate trying to go down the inside of me, so I defend through Brooklands and now through Ludfield as we're just trying to defend as much as we can against the McLaren, which is a lot faster as we go into the gravel, and that's not good for our exit. And the McLaren just breezes past as we go down the straight on the run down into Cops, and there was nothing I could do about it as we did get a really bad exit through Ludfield. But now on the run down into Mags and Beckett's, I'm going to see if I can try and just get a good slipstream through Mags and Beckett's and try and stick with them on to the hangar straight. We go a wee bit too tight on the entry of Chapel, now down the hangar straight trying to get a good slipstream on second, but he's flying away as he's already about a 5/10 gap, and there's nothing I can do about that at all. But we are going to try and close him the gap to him through the final bit of the lap. Now if we go through the final couple of turns now, just trying to get right up his gearbox and try and stick with him, but we have to brake just a wee bit through that second last turn, and that did not help us at all as we go down the main straight. Skipping ahead to the final lap now as we go through Cops, because there was nothing happening through them couple of laps, so I just skipped ahead to lap 5 as we go through Maggots and Beckett's now, trying to close the gap 2 seconds, and this could be our last, but it is our last chance to try and overtake him down the hangar straight in the run down to Stone. Now getting a good exit out of Chapel, and we've got a good slipstream going down into Stone. He's not pulling away and we're not falling behind. As we go down into Stone now, I'm going to lunge down the inside and try and get down the inside as we go off track, and there's a tap on the rear wheel and he spins us right round onto the grass and onto the exit roads, and that is our hopes of a podium right down the drain on the second race here. And it will be best finish P6 as P7 is too far back to make a move for the final bit of the lap. And as we come through the final turn now onto the main straight, and it is going to be 6th in this second race.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that.
I do hope you enjoyed that episode there. If you want to see more, leave a like and subscribe and comment what races I should do next and what I should do next on the channel. This is Jay from the JS9 Racing channel, signing off.